I see everybody is coming in slowly but surely. We're going to wait a minute or two and get everybody into our Zoom presentation. And lots of people are here, which is fantastic to see. This is terrific. All right. Amazing. All right, it looks like we've got a good number of people here, so we're going to get started because I see by the clock on the clubhouse wall it is 12:32, so it is time to get rocking and rolling with Soozy Miller. So good afternoon, everybody. Glad to see you here. This is wonderful. For those of you who don't know, I'm Margie Cherry. I'm the Associate Director of Alumni Career Services at the Gateway Career Center here at Lafayette. There's Hogue Hall in the background. And I would like to thank you for joining today's presentation of Value Add plus Job Matching equals the Optimal Resume. It's part of our Connect Ed virtual learning community series. Alumni Relations and the Gateway Career Center really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day-to-day to join us, learn a little bit, laugh a little bit, ask some questions, really get to know the ins and outs of resumes. And I'm going to introduce our amazing speaker today, but before I do that, I want to just talk about a couple of housekeeping items. So first of all, just to let you know, you are all muted, and that's just to keep the background noise out. So if you have a question or you have a comment, just put it in the chat bar, which is in the menu bar. Just type in a question. We will get to that. This is going to be recorded, as are all of our Connect Ed virtual learning series, and you can access them on Leopard Link at any time. When it comes time to ask questions, just use the chat feature. Again, you're going to be muted, but use the chat feature. And at the end of Soozy's and my conversation, we will be getting to those questions. And we'll get to as many as we can within the time that we're given. So without further ado, I would love to introduce to you today's speaker, Soozy Miller, class of 1988. Soozy.
Hello.
I'm so glad you're saying hi. So I'm just going to go through your amazing qualifications here for just a moment, Soozy. So
Okay.
Soozy is a certified professional resume writer. She is a certified discommunication and behavioral consultant, a member of the Professional Association of Resume Writers and Career Coaches, and a recruiting consultant. No downtime for our Soozy. She has been a professional marketing writer for more than 30 years and has worked with hundreds of job seekers worldwide and boasts, I love this, a 99% client interview success rate. So I trust the information we're going to get from you today is going to be fantastic. So let's get started.
I hope. One can only hope.
One can only hope, but we trust. All right. So Soozy, we're going to do this sort of as a Q&A between you and I, if that's okay. So, and before we get into the heart of the matter, before we get to resumes, I think, everybody here would love to hear a little bit about you and your background. So, not too many people grow up thinking, when I grow up, I want to be a professional resume writer.
Right.
So share your career path. Did it have anything to do with your major here at Lafayette? How did all this happen?
It's funny because I did not even choose to be a resume writer. I was an English major at Lafayette, but when I was at Lafayette, I graduated in '88. When I was at Lafayette, it was a very different place than it is now. I think there was something like 20 buildings added since I was there.
Wow.
And actually, I entered as an English major hating writing.
What?
Hating writing. It wasn't comfortable to me. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't get it. I really didn't. It wasn't something I enjoyed doing.
So why English?
Well, because I knew that I should be good at it in order to survive in the business world. I knew it was something I should get used to. And I said, how do I do that? How do I get used to it when I'm not comfortable with it? And I said, I'm going to just start reading. I'm going to be a major in English, and I'm just going to start reading and try to get ideas of different styles and different formats and just try to keep reading. And then I'm going to write about what I'm reading. And I kept getting frustrated and annoyed and frustrated. And then eventually it just became something that I enjoyed doing. I became good enough at it that I enjoyed doing it. And I started, when I graduated, I started in marketing writing. That's what I started doing. And what resumes are, they really are a branch of their self-marketing to companies. So it kind of made a little bit of sense. But I was writing marketing content for companies, and then a resume company came along and said, hey, write for us. And I went, what? I don't want to write, what? And they asked me a few times before I said, okay, fine, I will try this. And I fell in love. And the reason why I fell in love is this kind of writing is a double win.
Tell me
I get
why.
paid because I get paid to do what I love to do, right? It's like a Rubik's Cube to me. It's like a logic puzzle, figuring out how everything flows. So I get to do what I love, and I get to help people in the best possible way. I get to help them land their dream job, you know, help them reduce stress during the job hunting process. All of it is just win-win, and that's what I really enjoy it. And still, every time I get a client, a prospect who comes to me and says, Soozy, I need help, I drool. I drool because I look at their resume, and I say, oh, I know how I can help you. We're going to do this, we're going to do this, and we're going to move this here, and we're going to restate this, and I'm going to show you how to use this document to help yourself, to help you.
Wow.
So I really love what I do.
That's amazing. And just listen to your story. Starting off as an English major, it sounds like you chose your major not because it was easy for you, but because it was hard.
Right.
So you sort of took your weakness and not only made it your strength, you made it your success. And then you gave back.
Still working on it. I'm still working on it. It's an ever-evolving process.
That is incredible. Wow, what a story. So tell me a little bit, too, about the business writing you did before becoming a resume writer. You said it was marketing writing?
Yeah, I would write social media and website content for companies, and sometimes blogs.
Right.
And blogs for companies. And I love doing that, too.
Right.
I love doing that, too. I just found that the win-win part of resume writing really just gets me. It just really is what's enjoyable for me, because not only do I get paid for what I do, but I'm really helping people, and I like that part of it.
Right. And truly you are helping people with marketing. It's still marketing. It's just marketing, marketing them.
Yes, it's still very much a marketing tool.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So now let's just get right into it. I know that you have this saying, job matching, value add. Can you describe what is this? Tell us about this.
Two really important features of a resume in order to be noticed. This is what I mean by in order to be noticed, not just writing a resume, but writing a resume so that the employer picks you. Let's start with value add. Value add is the value that you bring to the job. The value is how you're going to help the company achieve their goals. Now, this should be apparent, because if you have experience in the area where the employer is, like if you're a doctor or if you're an engineer, speaking to Lafayette, if you're an engineer and you have experience in engineering, then it should be appropriate for you to apply for engineering jobs, right? So technically you have the experience, but you want to present it in a way where you show your value above your competition. In order to do that, you want to answer questions. You want to show how you have benefited the companies that you've worked for, not just worked for them, not what your tasks were, but the value, the benefits, the impact that you've had on the companies that you've worked for.
So that's fascinating. How does one figure out what that is? Now, and can I just jump in and say that I know that we have people from a variety of years on this call, everywhere from current students to new grads to people really right up there in their careers. So is there a formula, or is it different for, say, a new grad versus somebody who's mid-level?
They're all the same questions, but you want to, I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, so here we go. This is hold on.
We're holding.
Yep, okay. So I want to make it clear that these don't count as value adds. Okay? These are not value adds. These are characteristics of your work or of yourself that are expected. You're expected to be a hard worker. Your passion would be a great thing. You're expected to be a good communicator. You're expected to have computer skills. All of these are not value adds. They're assumed.
Okay.
Okay. And people, feel free to take pictures of this. Feel free to write it down. You know, if you want to take a screenshot of this, that's great. These are not value adds. As a matter of fact, I recommend that these not be on the resume at all, because they're assumed. They are assumed in your work. Okay. Here's how you do your value add. Okay. These are the questions that you ask about your work. And this is for any level. This is for students. For students, it can be about how you contributed to an event. It can be about how, when you were part of a club, how you raise money. This can be asked of any task. These questions can be asked of any task that you've done, any part of your experience.
Right.
And these will help you.
Now, it doesn't always have to be about money, correct?
Oh no, that's why you said, did you improve this? Look at the second bullet.
Yes.
How did you improve a process or procedure, right? You want to look for how you had an impact on the organization that you've worked for, or the organization that you volunteered for, or the organization that you've contributed to.
Right, right. Now, it's great if you actually have the numbers, you know, if you have, you know, that you're able to increase sales by 27%. What happens, you know, how can you word it if you don't have the actual numbers? Is there a way to do that?
Yes, obviously numbers are preferred. Numbers, metrics, facts are preferred, but you can also say, you know, enhanced process, or made process more efficient, or improved quality,
right?
Or
okay.
Enhanced customer base.
Great.
You can definitely get around that. The idea is to show your impact.
Okay. Okay. So that's the value add part of it.
Yes.
Terrific. Okay. And what is the job matching piece?
The job matching piece is, it is looking at a job posting,
right,
and seeing how your skills, tools, and experience match that job. So when you look at a job posting, I recommend that you read the job posting from top to bottom, and look at the skills, tools, and experience they're requiring and requesting throughout the job posting.
Okay.
And then you add those specific skills, tools, and experience to your resume. Now, this means that, yes, you're going to be adapting your resume to every job. But if your formula, if your template works well, then your experience section should be set with that value add. Your experience should be set with those accomplishments and focused to your field. And then all you have to do is adjust the top sections of your resume.
Right. So do you include everything that you have on the resume that you've already prepared? Do you add or subtract? Do you reprioritize? How do you work that?
You want to keep the experience section stable. So you keep that.
Chronological.
You add to it chronological. I'm going to show you the format in a moment, the preferred format in a moment for a template. But what you want to do is you want to keep the experience section separate, and then you want to keep the experience section focused to your field and promoting your accomplishments and your impact and your value add. And then you want to tailor the top sections to each job.
Okay.
Job posting, by reading the job posting and seeing what the company needs. Remember, this is, you're marketing yourself to the company. So you don't want the top sections for you to, don't say how awesome you are. Don't say, I'm great, I'm awesome, I'm a great communicator, I'm great. No, because they're not going to believe you. And they're not going to spend an interview finding out whether or not it's true. You want to tell the company what you're going to do for them based on the job posting.
Okay. So I think the sample would be great for everybody to see.
Okay, let me get back to this.
Yeah. So you're keeping your experience chronological, and you're keeping all those accomplishments within
Okay.
that, but you're tailoring the top, right?
Now you're tailoring the top. So here is an example of a resume. Okay. So you have your name at the top. You have your contact information at the top.
Got it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a title, general counsel.
Right.
And you want to, I suggest you, if you like the job posting, that you use the title that's in the job posting, use it, move it over to your resume.
So even if that was
So it's
not your
job
actual
matching.
title, that was not your actual job title,
That's
you
job
use theirs.
matching.
Got
Yes,
it. Got
that's
it.
job matching. Again, you're marketing yourself to the company.
Great.
So if you look at a job posting and you read it, you say, oh, I love this. This is great. This is what I want to do. This is a great job for me. And you look at the title and you say, I don't like that title. I want you to ignore it. They should ignore the title. You should ignore your personal feelings about the title and use the company's title.
Okay.
Speak to the company. Speak the company's language.
Right. So adapt.
Adapt. Exactly.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Underneath that is the summary. If you look at the summary, this is someone's actual summary, but if you look at the summary, you'll see I haven't described the person. There's no self-description. Because again, this is stating what you're going to do for the company based on what the company's asking for.
Right. And based on what your matching experiences.
Exactly. Matching your experience. Based on your experience.
Gotcha.
Related skills. This is an important section for those applicant tracking systems. Okay.
Which we'll talk about in a minute. Yeah. I want to hear
we'll
more
talk
about that.
That's
yeah.
a whole other, I could spend 2 hours on applicant tracking systems, but this related skills, you'll see that there's no communication in here, no leadership, no management. These are very specific words and phrases from the job posting.
Right.
These are specific skills and tools from the job posting.
Okay. All right. So you're not an advocate of including soft skills in this at all?
Well, I am an advocate, but that's where that's where my certification in DISC assessment skills comes in.
Ooh, okay, we'll talk about that more too.
We'll talk about that in a moment, but unless you have proof through this DISC reporting that I do, unless you have proof, like written proof, that your soft skills have contributed to your success, I recommend you not putting them down.
Okay.
Because you can't prove them. I can't prove I'm a great communicator, and the recruiter or whoever's going to look at your soft skills and say, how do I know this person's good at that? And the third applicant for the position is saying they're a great communicator, and the 250th applicant is saying they're a great communicator. How do I know as a recruiter who's a great communicator? I don't, and I'm not going to take the time to figure it out. So everybody that says that is going to go into maybe.
Okay. So, but if you have a story that supports it, that fits under your description, your job description, along with your accomplishments,
if you have a way
okay?
that your communication improved the company process, improved teamwork, then you could put it in. Yeah.
I see.
Most people, a lot of people can't do that. They can't. They have no way of proving it except for the DISC assessment.
Terrific.
All right. So into experience and achievements, this is the format that I recommend. So you see, we have the name of the company, we have the position title, right? And then we have a paragraph of information, and everyone, again, feel free to take pictures of this, screenshot, write it down, whatever you'd like. So then we have what I call the paycheck paragraph that starts with lead counsel for product liability actions, okay? This is what I call the paycheck paragraph. This is where you're making statements, not telling a story. You're making statements about your experience in this company, who you worked with, the kind of clients you worked with, the kind of projects you worked on, describing your daily tasks that you earned your paycheck. Okay?
Right.
Okay? Underneath that is a very important part of this resume. This is the meat of the resume. These bullet points are your impact statements. Okay? These are impact statements. How you help the client, how you help the project. And notice there are some numbers here to prove your point. Now, these bullet points, the reason why we separate responsibilities from bullet points, responsibilities from accomplishments, is that those bullet points are designed visually to pop off the page. That's what bullet points are designed to do. They're designed to visually pop. So you want to make sure that those bullet points are impactful statements and they're impact worthy. They're bullet point worthy.
That's a great point. Okay.
Yes.
So that makes a lot of sense visually. So it's more like a general responsibility statement that you're leading with in that first paragraph, correct?
Yeah.
And more about how you, the bullet points here are your value adds, correct?
Bullet points are the value adds.
I got it.
They're going to make you stand out on the resume. They're going to make you stand out to recruiters. They're going to bring up conversation points in the interview and make good conversation for the interview. And they're going to help you determine salary. They're going to help you negotiate your salary, especially if you're moving up within an organization and you want to move up to the next tier. A colleague of mine a fellow resume writer was talking to a client, and she was really upset that she had not been offered a job, and like the next job, she'd not been offered a promotion. And so she was talking to him about it, and he said, okay, give me 3 accomplishments that would exemplify why you should move up. And she couldn't name one. Okay,
wow.
She couldn't name one. If you want to move up, if you want to prove yourself, you have to show the results that you've brought to the company. That proves your point.
Gotcha. Okay? Gotcha. That makes so much sense. Yeah.
Right. So I just want to show one more thing. So this is the basic formula that you're looking to do. Again, not mixing responsibilities with accomplishments, because that reduces the effectiveness of the accomplishment.
Gotcha.
Okay. And then I just want to add something down below, because this is important for people who have older experience. Again, you can take a picture if you'd like. So this area I like to use because recruiters really only want to see up to the last 15 years. Recruiters in the hiring team only want to see 10 to 15 years of experience. If, however, there's an employment gap, or you have most of your experience is from a later time because you're a little bit older, like you're an executive, this is a great area to put your experience. Notice there are no dates here. There are only, because this is older than 15 years, but this is a great place to put where you showed, again, potential and leadership, and where you can put well-known companies and firms.
And you don't need dates here.
No, you do not need dates here. Recruiters are going to know what this means. You just want to show that you've worked for an IBM, or you worked for Google, or you worked for an AT&T, or you worked for an Oracle.
Right.
This is where you want to show that you have worked for the big names before, but you don't want to show dates, and you're not, and the information would be too old.
But it's also, I imagine, the way you're saying this, it's also for just any company that you worked for more than 15 years ago, and you just want to include it along with your title to show progression. Rather, I mean, so it doesn't have to be from the big, IBM, Oracle, etc.
You can show progression. You want to show leadership. You could show that you've been a leader. You've led teams from an early time, from years ago, that you started in leadership from an early age. But it also really is about the companies that you've worked for.
Excellent.
It really is about, if you work for Ernst & Young really young, you would want to include that.
Right. Gotcha. Are there any common mistakes you see people do when they're trying to craft their first draft of the resume before they get to you?
Oh, yeah.
Share.
Oh, I love this part because I love helping people so much. I love this part. Okay, so biggest problem by far is no template. People think that they can just put the information on the page in this order and it'll be fine. The problem is that if you're dealing with applicant tracking systems, if you're dealing with that software the companies use, the software is used to scanning a document and understanding how the sections are divided. It is going to read related skills. It is going to read experience and achievement. So it knows what text is coming next. Now, go ahead, you had a question?
I just wanted to clarify, because when you say template, you don't mean a preset template, because the ATS systems don't really like that. You just mean following a formula of where to put things, correct? Am I hearing
Well,
you right?
I do mean a template in that you want, it's an order of things. And what you made at the top, you want general counsel, you do want that delineated related skill.
Right, but you're not using something you download off the internet to fill in.
I would not.
That's
I
what
would
yes.
not. Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
I would not recommend something off the internet because it might be corrupted even when you download it.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yes.
Thank
you
you.
also just want one column. Really important. This is all in one column.
Right.
It's really popular. People like the design of having information on the left side. It's so popular. Information on the left side or the right side, like skills, tools, name, information on the left or right side, and then the experience on the right side. Applicant tracking systems do not like this. You can use that if you're submitting your resume directly to a recruiter via email. You can do that. You can submit something with more design. If you're sending your resume to a one-on-one contact, to a specific recruiter or a contact within the company, feel free to send whatever design you want. But if you're dealing with just submitting in general to an online application, it's going to go probably straight to the ATS, straight to the applicant tracking system, and you want one column. Recruiters want to scan, boom, up, down, top to bottom, very quickly. They do not have time to go, oh, what's to the right? Oh, what's to the left? For applicant tracking systems, top to bottom.
So even though you might have a beautifully designed, very pretty, graphically designed format, that's only for sending directly to a person rather than applying to a job where it's definitely going to go into that automated system. Is that what you're saying?
Right. One thing to keep in mind is, again, you're marketing to the company. What you think is attractive may not be attractive to the recruiter.
Good point.
What you think is, oh, this is so pretty, everyone's going to love this. The recruiter may look at it and go, what? And you don't want that.
Okay.
You don't want that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Very simple. The document I recommend for resumes, very simple document, even for creative houses, even for like art houses. If you're applying to a design position at Microsoft, you're applying to a design position at a digital agency, they still want to know your experience. I would recommend doing something, maybe showing your portfolio on the side, but giving them a streamlined resume like that, a plain resume, because they still may be using an applicant tracking system.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. That's
applicant
terrific.
Tracking systems are everywhere.
So can you explain a little bit more about that? I think, some people are familiar with it, but for some people, this is a whole new world.
Right. Okay. So applicant tracking systems are now used on all job boards, like Glassdoor, Monster, what's the other one? Career Builder, whatever, all of them. They're now starting to use, the job posting sites are now starting to use their own applicant tracking systems along with the company using applicant tracking systems. So now you got a double filter. Okay, so what they are is you go online, you fill out information, and the company, the application may have specific questions that they ask you to pre-filter you. They may have specific questions and you answer them however you want to, but those are definitely pre-filters.
Right.
Then along with those questions, you submit your resume. Okay, immediately it gets thrown into an applicant tracking system, which is basically software that helps companies recruit and filter candidates.
So those are the gatekeepers, really.
This is the gatekeeper. This is the gatekeeper. This is where somebody's going to program something into the applicant tracking system, something into the software that qualifies people, and you may or may not make it through that qualification. Again, you've got the questions that you answered on the job posting application, and now you've got the recruiter or the hiring team at the company asking more questions, filter. A lot of people are applying. I mean, for any given job, there are hundreds and hundreds of applications from around the world.
Right.
So your resume goes into this applicant tracking system window where the user is going to use certain search mechanisms to filter out whoever they can.
How does a job seeker know the kinds of things that these tracking systems are looking for? Is there a way to figure that out?
You don't. How do you do it? Job matching. Job matching. That's what you have no control over what these companies are doing, what their recruiters are doing. You have no control. Recruiters don't even have control.
Right.
Some of the companies don't have control. And to make it even more complicated and interesting, if you get a big company like a Microsoft or Google or, you know, a Walmart,
right,
they're going to use multiple applicant tracking systems.
Oh my gosh.
They're going, and they may be from different companies.
Right.
Like Walmart uses 3 or 4 different applicant tracking systems,
right,
each for a different division.
So obviously
you have no control over it.
So we can't know, but so are there things like keywords or certain phrases that we look out for to make sure they're in our resume?
When you look at the job posting, don't go for the words like communication and computer. Go for, like on this resume that we're looking at, go for product liability claim. This guy could have said, we could have said communication skills. We could have said, you know, New York law. We could have said things like that. They're not going to search for things like that because they're too general. They're going to search for environmental issues. They're going to search for risk management. Those are specific terms that were specific to the position. So those keywords that you're finding in the actual job posting are what's key. Yes. Okay. Yes, that's how you have a fighting chance of getting through the applicant tracking system. Gotcha. Use the company's words against them. That the job posting is your ultimate cheat sheet. Right. Great. And we sort of jumped ahead, you know, to the applicant tracking systems. That's great. But I want to also mention something that I know has come up as a question in some of the pre-questions that we got from viewers. One of them was about cover letters. You know, these days often we're doing these, you know, electronic submissions. If they don't ask you for a cover letter, should you include one? If you do include one, what should it say? Yeah, this is like a constant debate among recruiters, among resume writers. We are constantly asking each other what to do because cover letters in a way back when, hundreds of years ago, cover letter was a resume. You explained your experience, you talked about yourself, you sent the letter, right? So that was personalizing the mass-produced resume. It's not personalizing anymore. Okay, so cover letters. So Google announced, like, oh God, I want to say 6 months ago, that they're no longer accepting cover letters for certain applications. So they've completely cut it out. On applications now, there might be a place for a cover letter and there might not. Here's what you don't do, okay? You don't write a cover letter. If the application has not asked for one, you don't write okay, I'm saying this wrong. What you don't do is write a cover letter and attach it to the resume and make it one big PDF. You don't do that, okay? If they don't ask for a cover letter, don't send one. Gotcha. However, it gets tricky. However, in the application, there might be a spot for a cover letter, like a little window that they ask for a cover letter, or more fun, they might ask for, there might be a section at the very bottom of the application that says optional information. Now, you do want to add a cover letter wherever there's an option to add more information about yourself. You want to add your cover letter. Here is the caveat. So many caveats in this. Here's the caveat. When you copy and paste your information, your content from the cover letter to that little box, it's going to look crappy. Because all the formatting is gone. It deformats, It deformats. Your cover letter is going to look crappy. So you have to go into that box and delete all the crazy characters that come out and just flush everything left. And just make it look as good as possible. Now, what should be in the cover letter? Right. In the cover letter, you want to do the same thing. Cover letter is like a preview to the resume. Again, you want to match your skills and tools. It sounds repetitive, and it really kind of is. I mean, some people talk about writing stories, but the problem with writing a story of why you're so passionate about your job, part of the problem with writing a story is people get into paragraphs and paragraphs of information, and no one wants to read that. So my recommendation is cover letter is a pain, but when you want to use one, when there's a chance to use one, to submit one, use the cover letter as a chance to preview why you're a match for the job. The cover letter
in a more narrative form is what you're saying?
Just go back to the job posting and explain how your experience overall, make a statement about how your experience overall matches what the job is looking for. And then,
Gotcha.
and I believe in very short cover letters. That's one paragraph. Underneath that, you put 3 bullet points. That's the visual standard, is 3 bullet points that show the impact, that highlight your impact to the company. That's it.
Your potential impact on this company.
Well, what you've done in the past. Remember, you have bullet points from your
Right.
resume. So you take some samples of bullet points from your resume that you think address well what the company is looking for in the job posting, and you move them to your resume.
So how your
Cover letter
experience
is a preview.
match what they're looking for.
I know it sounds repetitious, but again, cover letters, cover letters, cover letters. They are literally the debate of this world, and they're not even being asked for anymore. And, you know, if they're sometimes they're optional, sometimes not asked for, just don't submit one if they don't ask for one.
Okay, gotcha. Now I'm looking at the clock, and we have about 5 more minutes before we get to the Q&A, and I see there's lots of questions rolling in.
Oh, no.
So I know, doesn't this go fast? So in the next 5 minutes, we can talk a little bit about LinkedIn. We can talk about DISC.
Let me talk about LinkedIn for just a moment. Let me
Okay.
talk about LinkedIn for just a moment, because DISC, I kind of covered. DISC is assessing your soft skills, your leadership skills, your communication skills, so that you can prove. It's a report that comes out. When I work with clients, we do the report as like the first thing. It's a report that helps the client, helps the job seeker say to the company, here, look, see, I do communicate well. Here are my strengths, because DISC sort of gives, what DISC stands for is the 4 different sort of work types.
Right.
I know there are different versions of this in the world. This is the one I happen to choose to be certified in. But it breaks your work skills into work capabilities into 4 categories. Now, everyone is a combination of those 4 categories, but you usually are dominant in one, and that helps you promote your strengths in that particular zone characteristic.
Understood.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's DISC in a very quick nutshell.
Okay.
So I want to get to LinkedIn in the couple minutes we have left. Okay.
Yes.
LinkedIn, because these applicant tracking systems make things so complicated, and because they're overwhelmed, and because they're so picky about what they're choosing, and so many good candidates end up in the trash or just being ignored, recruiters and HR and all the hiring team has taken to LinkedIn to find candidates. Now, what does this mean? This means that they go in and they do a search for a specific skill.
Oh, hang on.
Or specific tool.
I think
C++.
you're breaking up just a little.
Oh, I am? I think we all are. You hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Yep.
Okay.
That's better.
Okay. So
We're good.
LinkedIn, so recruiters, because the applicant tracking system is overwhelmed and causing problems and sending people to trash who are eligible candidates, people are going to LinkedIn to do specific searches. So they'll search for coding, or they'll search for, you know, real estate sales, or they'll search for, I don't know, just name anything. The wider the category, like a recruiter would never search for manager because it's too broad. They'll search for specific coding, like C+ or something like that. They'll search for something specific. And 100, 1,000, 500,000, a million candidates will come up.
Wow.
Okay? Here's how you can get on their list. You want to make sure that your headline, your about section, and your experience section are specific, just like with the resume. That's why we start with the resume. When I work with clients, we start with the resume, because the resume is the foundation for everything else.
Right.
So LinkedIn, you want a headline that is going to say not just what you do, because everybody's talking about that, not just what you do, but a general statement about how you've impacted the company. Why do I keep saying this? Because, you know, that's crucial. Statement about how you've, an umbrella statement about how you've impacted the company.
Gotcha.
Then you want about, and about Don't talk about your everyday tasks. Again, everybody else is saying what they do every day. Talk about your accomplishments. Talk about the who, what, where, when, and why of the value you've brought to the company. That will make you stand out. And I might want to add that when you're searched, the initial search will only bring up your profile picture and your headline. That's it. So you've got 120 characters to state your case and get them to choose you.
Right. And so many people, as we know, just put their title and organization.
They just do that. And I once did a search for C+, and this woman's headline came up, and it said, owner at agency X. And I was like, what? How does that help me? That doesn't help me. So what did I do? I ignored it because I don't feel like digging in and seeing what she means by that. I want to know right there what you do and the impact that you've had. That's how you stand out to me. And so then the other key is the about section. The first 2-3 sentences are crucial, because if you click on that person's profile and you get the headline, everyone will notice this, that it says to see more. It'll show you the first 2 or 3 sentences, and then you have to click see more to see the rest of the about section. You want those 2 or 3 sentences to catch the person's eye. You want them to engage and say, oh, I want to know about that person.
Right. Gotcha.
That's my 2-minute spiel about
Very good. Very good. Well, I'll tell you something. I see so many good questions coming in. Even though I have lots more questions for you, Soozy, I would rather turn it over to our viewers.
Let's do it.
And let's get these questions going.
Let's see if I can answer some of these doozies.
Okay, so let's go. We've got lots of questions coming in. So I'm going to go to the back. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is a pretty specific question, Soozy. Tell me if you've got an answer for this one. And this is very timely because I know it's happened to a lot of people. And this is a question about an internship, but I think it could work as well for a job. The question is, how do you account for an internship that was canceled due to COVID? And that's also happening with job offers as well.
Of course. Okay. Everyone is going to have employment gaps at this time. They just are. There are companies that are hiring. They've been hiring even during quarantine, but there are many people that are unemployed. There are millions. So recruiters are not going to be surprised to see that you have an employment gap. They're just not. I mean, everyone can know that. Here's what I would do. For any job, volunteer work, activities, anything that you did in this time, just put a line at the top of your experience section, the company that you worked for, or the tasks that you did, the volunteer work, anything that you did, preferably if there's a company name or an organization name, that's preferred, but just do the best you can. Just know you're not alone, and recruiters in the hiring team expect gaps in the last year or so.
Right. So should you mention? So do you think you should mention the company for who, from whom the internship or the job was offered?
Of course, and any information that you can put in that you did, in any ways, of course, that you helped, any ways that you, of course, impacted the organization, because you can be in an internship for a month and have an impact in a company, and then there are executives who've been at a company for 30 years and just did their work and went home.
Right, but so many of them are canceled before they even begin. So say you haven't started at a company, but you had an internship offer. Do you think you should mention the company?
You don't want to mention it. You could mention that maybe in the cover letter or in the LinkedIn profile that you had an offer for them, but if you didn't actually work for them, actually do the work, I wouldn't put it in. But you can mention an interview. If you get to the interview, you could say, by the way,
great,
I did have an offer from this place, but it didn't work. So.
Terrific. Okay, so the next one, I think several people had a similar question, so I'm gonna jump to this one. So how do you handle changing a career in a field that's unrelated to your actual work experience, but very related to a lot of volunteer work that you've done, especially if you've been a very significant volunteer?
Put the volunteer work in. What you want to do on a resume is package yourself with your skills and tools toward that job. Now, there are transferable skills all the time. I had somebody on a meeting recently who was transferring from a call center to drug rehab. I mean, she wasn't in drug rehab. She was a counselor in drug rehab, right? Or administrator maybe in drug rehab. And she said, how do I make that transition? I said, well, your commonality there is you're talking to people. It's so important that you communicate with people. So with your transition, you want to show in your transferable skills in your job descriptions, emphasize who you communicated with, how you communicated with, what got done as a result of those communications. There are transferable skills that even when you're a career transition person, as a result of COVID maybe, emphasize the skills that you could transfer between the two careers.
Should you do a heading that says transferable skills, or how would you suggest, where would you put that?
I would actually, I've added due to COVID, I now add, which is, she can't show it here, but on this, above experience and achievement, I now have a new section that says career overview, I think it is, career overview. And in there you can say, below are examples, below I worked for XYZ companies in which I use these skills, and you list the skills, which are, I believe, are transferable to
or I volunteered for this organization.
Yes, I actually want to say that. Volunteer work, it doesn't matter if you got paid or not, okay? It does not matter if you got paid or not. If you use those skills, if the job, even the volunteer work, supports your candidacy for a job, put it in.
Sounds good. Excellent. And several people had that question. I hope that addressed the questions that you had. Terrific. A couple other questions. Oh, this is interesting. So, and this is to refer back to what you had said earlier about not including the softer skills, really, you know, in a general context. Somebody mentioned that several times they've seen postings that ask for those specific skills, like teamwork, communication, etc. If they're mentioning it, do you mirror that for the applicant tracking system?
Every single job posting, I think, in the history of job postings has mentioned those skills. Just like they mention computer skills. Just like I did see one director position about a year ago that said in like the third bullet point of the job posting, must know Microsoft Word. And I nearly fell off my chair. Director position, asking for I nearly fell off my chair when I saw that.
Wow,
so
wow.
Every single job in the history of jobs is going to ask for good communication, is going to ask for computer skills, is going to ask for teamwork, is going to ask for these, you know, must be a good communicator. They're going to put it in. They're not going to search for it, but they're going to put it in. It's like assuming you have a desk, you know, they're going to put it in because that's what they want. But there are many people who are going to be applying the job that are not good communicators, that are not good at teamwork.
Right. So I think what you had said earlier, if I can just use your answer to answer this, is that if you can put that in your accomplishments under one of your job experiences, then it makes sense. Then you're mirroring the language so it gets picked up by the ATS system.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, good. All right,
Next
so a couple interesting ones. So here's somebody who's got 35 years of experience. He's searching for opportunities in 3 different fields. Some of the experience for the fields that he's pursuing happened more than 15 years ago. How does he massage this whole format? It sounds to me like he might need separate resumes, right? So how to approach that? Yeah.
Okay, so you really do need separate resumes, and if he's looking to get jobs, okay, so you really need 3 separate resumes. That's where you really start. You can use what I call a general resume, and a general resume would be promoting everything about yourself, not just focused to your field in the experience section, but promoting everything that you've ever accomplished and every responsibility you've ever had in the experience section. And then using the top sections, again, the title, the summary, and related skills to focus to each job.
So just the top section.
People have done that. Is it successful? It's what recruiters call spray and pray.
Right.
Like you're kind of sending your resume out. The tailoring at the top helps, but you have to understand that you are competing against a lot of people around the world who have been, while you have all this varied experience that you're showing, these people have been focused in their experience
Right.
for years, some of them. So you're competing against that.
Right. So versus that, it sounds like you're saying that you could do that, but that's not necessarily the best way. So would you then suggest
Right.
the 3
The
separate
best
resumes?
way is to figure out the specific field that you want to go into, the specific path that you want to take in your career next, the next step, and then create a resume based on that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. So terrific. Thank you. So the next question, this is a formatting question, and I think it also has to do with the ATS, the applicant tracking systems. So the viewer noted that on your sample, you have blue lettering and some gray bars.
Yes.
Are the colors picked up by the ATS? Are the bars
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. And this is where the good template comes in. So as you'll see, there is very little design in my resume, right? The font is the same throughout. Okay, so where my cursor is, these are what are called hard-coded, okay? So if I go to delete related skills, the whole bar is going to disappear eventually because those are hard-coded within the line. That's what you want. You want hard coding because hard coding is going to stand up against applicant tracking system. That's like part of the importance of delineating and sectioning out each part because that helps the applicant tracking system read each section.
Right.
So you just want to make sure that you have a stable template and that it's no graphics. Just no putting in the little phone icon and the little envelope icons for email, and none of that. No little icons, no design features. Just make it plain and simple.
Gotcha.
This template is designed so the applicant tracking system can read these sections.
Right.
You really don't want more than that.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Again, I'm just with an eye to the clock. I'm going to go. I know we have a lot more questions, and I apologize if we don't get to every one of them. Real quick answer. Is LinkedIn premium account worth it?
Yeah, a lot of people ask that. I say it's not. I use the trials when they come along, like you get 3 free months or something. Nobody I know uses premium. What it's good for is emailing people that you don't know, within messaging people, but a lot of people like me have their email right in the contact information, so you don't really need that. I've never seen a benefit with it. Some people like it.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Next question. I'm trying to get through them.
Go ahead. Go.
A lot of people during quarantine now, especially, are taking some online courses through Coursera, edX, Udemy. Where would you suggest adding that in your resume?
They go at the bottom. They go at the bottom.
Under education.
On education and membership, you put the certification, what it is, you put where you got that certification, the organization or the school, and you put the location. If it's online, then don't put it, but you put that. And then if it's a specific certification that's going to help you with the job, then you go up and you put it next to your name. It's a certification, so that's for master's degrees, PhDs.
Yeah. What about like PMP, project management, things like that?
PMP, right? Okay. PMP, any certifications go up there. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Really good question.
Okay, great. Now somebody asked, does adding extra to your LinkedIn headline beyond your title and the organization name actually result in a worse SEO for your profile? I'm not sure about that.
Does adding a what?
Is adding different information other than just your title and organization. Does that impact your SEO? Positive or negative?
You mean not adding your responsibilities in there?
No. I mean, when I think that this viewer is actually asking, because you suggested instead of just having your title and organization as your headline, having a phrase, excuse me, a descriptive phrase or something else.
Like up here? You mean like up here?
No, on the LinkedIn profile.
Oh, on the LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
You want to don't just add the company name. I think that's what they're asking. Don't just add the company name. Add what you've accomplished for companies, like increase revenue for Fortune 500 companies.
Okay.
Make it specific. Put your impact statement. You only have 120 characters, but I know you can do it. Make a very quick, short statement about your impact.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Here's somebody who's had 15 years at one company, but with 4 titles of increasing responsibility. How would she present that on a resume?
Right. Okay. I get this a lot. Okay. So what you want to do is if each of the positions had different job descriptions, then you would just put, like I'm showing it here, you would put the first position here, and then you just add the second position where associate is. You'd add the next position, the previous position here. So you want to break out each of those positions. If they're different roles, if they're different roles with different responsibilities, then you break them out as if they were different jobs, like this, with the paycheck paragraph and the bullet points. Paycheck paragraph and the accomplishments. If they were all, you just got promoted, but they're all like the same, you're going to have to list them all together in first. But try to find differentiating elements of each position so you can make them separate descriptions.
Gotcha. All right. I think we have one last one that I'm going to ask you. And this, I think, is on everybody's mind. So often, because it's so much of a buyer's market for employers, so often people apply to jobs and they get more or less ghosted. They never hear from a company, yay, nay, or they've even had interviews, second interviews, third interviews.
Yeah.
And then Zippo, crickets, nothing.
Right.
Is this the norm now, and should that be expected?
Yes, it should be expected. You should assume that no one's going to call you. Don't be disheartened by it. Really important. Don't be disheartened by it. It reduces the amount of time that you're spending on job hunting by qualifying those job listings more, by making sure that you really want the job and that you're qualified for the job. That may not mean underqualified or overqualified. It may just mean you're not a match. If someone was using Microsoft Dynamics and you use QuickBooks, you're not a match. Doesn't mean you can't do the job. It just means you're using different software. So qualify your job postings, make sure you're a match, and that will reduce reduce your exhaustion of job hunting.
Right.
Expect when you hand it in, that when you submit it, that you're not going to hear back. Try thank you notes, or not thank you notes, try follow-up notes. If you had that interview, try a thank you note. Thank you note that mentions something in the news about the company or a conversation you had with someone about the company. Follow up. And go more to LinkedIn. Don't just rely on those blind job applications online. Go to LinkedIn and network. Talk to people, respond to questions, improve your LinkedIn profile, like we just talked about. Talk to people, and you'll start to get connected. The best jobs come through referrals and your personal network.
Wow. I think we're going to end on that high note. That is fantastic advice. I love it. Soozy, this was wonderful. Thank you so much for all your strategies and tips.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone. I hope this helped.
I just have a few wrap-ups here, and then we're done, but I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for spending a part of their day with us, for staying connected to Lafayette. And please join us for our next Connect Ed Talk, which is tonight at 7 p.m. We'll be talking about the effects of the pandemic